I'm
Holly McDonald with the OC Pod, and today I'm with Jason Thibodeau of JMJ Financial, and we're here to talk about, yes, a repeat guest.
Thanks for having me back.
Of course, thanks for being here. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about, I thought let's start out a little bit with some fun mortgage stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's actually.
That's why I'm here.
I know, you're so good at it. And as always, the market is ever changing.
Yeah.
What would you say is kind of the headlines this week in the mortgage world?
It's complicated, but the bottom line is the Fed. It's funny. He's speaking out of both sides of his mouth, right? Because he did reduce interest rates a quarter point.
Yeah.
And he announced what we've all been hoping for a long time now, which is the end of quantitative tightening, which is supportive of the bond market, which the net result is ultimately lower interest rates. Yeah. But he took the punch bowl away at the press conference because it's not just the decision that's made. It's what he says at the press conference. And what the market reacted to strongly and did not like, which caused rates to have the opposite effect in the mortgage world, they went up, is he said not only is the last Fed meeting in December not a lock for interest rates to be cut again, which is what the market was anticipating. They were anticipating 3 cuts.
Sure.
Right? He said not only is it not a lock, it's far from it. So he threw in some emotional language. The market didn't like that. We're all a little bit frustrated by it, right? Because the labor market's weakening. The government's in the longest historical shutdown ever, right? And we've got a lot going on. Tariffs. The Supreme Court's about to make a decision on tariffs. There's a lot of uncertainty. And in a weakening labor market, interest rates do need to come down. And the Fed just doesn't seem to want to cooperate. So the market didn't like that. Interest rates have ticked up. Now, it's not violent movements in mortgage rates, right? When I say they ticked up, I mean they ticked up. We're talking about maybe a 0.25% interest rate rise. But nonetheless, as far as most consumers are concerned, they're already too high.
Right.
So when they go up as a result of the Fed's language, a quarter point, it just is kind of painful.
Right. Well, and on the news this morning, they were showing some data about how frustrated consumers are with just the cost of living overall, right? So like we're all seeing it. If you're not seeing it, you're not paying attention, but we're all seeing it at the grocery stores. We're seeing it with utilities, insurance. That's a big one too. And then obviously housing costs. So yeah, it's like, what do we do about that? How do we make the world a better place for everybody? I know when I go to the grocery store now, it's costing close to double what it did a few years ago. And I'm not really buying much different.
Yeah, and that could be emotionally traumatizing for people when they need to fill up their grocery cart and feed their family and get to the point where they're paying their bill and there's that shock factor and payment shock factor.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird, right? Because on one hand, the Fed is keeping interest rates elevated. Why? Because he's trying to combat inflation.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's high interest rates that's creating housing inflation in the first place with the monthly payment, right? Because if we do reduce mortgage rates down, what do you think is going to happen to consumer monthly payment costs on mortgages? They're going to come down.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a weird catch-22.
It is, yeah. When they come down, then people, if they have the discretionary funds, they can use it somewhere else.
Yeah. And the frustrating part for most people is it feels like we're in purgatory to a certain extent because a lot of people are putting their life on hold waiting for this to eventually happen. Now, we have made progress, right? It's not all negative.
Yeah.
But there was a time where the average 30-year fixed was 8%.
2 years ago.
Yeah. So the overall trend and like the silver lining in all of this is the overall trend is mortgage rates are clearly dropping. However, things don't move in a straight line down. They do this on the way down, right?
It's life, right?
It's just part of like the old saying that I like, man plans and God laughs, right? That's just how it works. So the silver lining and the thing that will give most consumers hope is that we will eventually get there. It's just going to feel like a roller coaster ride on the way down.
Well, and I will say about my beef with the groceries, one tip that I have that I've been using that has been really, really helpful and kind of alleviates some stress is that I will just buy online and then just drive over and pick it up. So that
I know why you're doing this.
Well, there's
no impulse buys.
No impulse buys. And I work a lot on weekends, and that's when I do my shopping. So it saves time, which is valuable, right?
Yeah.
Like family time is everything. And family time with my kids at the supermarket is not quality time. I can tell you that.
Wow, you're really hitting on something. Yeah, because for me, I'm an impulse shopper.
Yeah.
So I like it for the advice is I'm not going to put the random bag of Doritos in there if I'm ordering online. But then the stress reduction of what you're talking about with family, with kids and crowds. Or have you ever tried to go to Costco on a Saturday morning?
I won't. My husband does that, and he's a saint for that, but that would not be my favorite.
Yeah.
That causes anxiety,
like
for sure.
if I've gotten really good sleep the night before and I'm feeling really adventurous and I have a lot of bandwidth to just get to the point where I can park my car, let alone get inside the Costco. One of our friends, shout out to MK, our insurance broker, she just recently showed me that you can actually have a shopper you go on the Costco website and they do have shoppers for you and you can do it online and they'll deliver it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's a good tip too. That makes it a little bit easier. And actually my husband has a really good little like cheat sheet for Costco. He was able to book our recent vacation through Costco Travel.
Yeah.
And I will have to do a separate video on this, but through manipulating the system a little bit, he was able to score a bunch of money back in that he was able to allocate to something else. So it's kind of like credit card points, but he knows the system really well. And I think the tagline is that he was basically able to use our vacation and then basically get a computer for free or very close to it.
Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah, Brian's got the tips on that.
I'm a huge Costco apologist and disciple, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, because we just got like our I don't know if it's mortgage related, but homeowner related. We just got our down comforter from Costco, which we looked at the same exact down comforter from a typical retail operation online. And what we got for $469 was $1,200 for the same thing on a retail spot. You really, if you are paying attention, you can get deals. Now, obviously, if you're walking through Costco and impulse buying, you're going to, go backwards and not forwards financially.
Well,
right?
12 cans of ketchup.
If you don't have self-control like me, be careful. But I'm just saying, if you can be strategic, you can make it work for sure.
Yeah, I keep saying we just need to buy a second refrigerator unit for our garage or something because everything you buy there doesn't fit in a standard. I
know.
It's bad.
No, we have a full-size garage fridge and freezer for that exact reason.
Well, and kind of to tie it back to real estate a little bit, I will say a lot of times refrigerators come up in the negotiation because they're personal property, and sometimes.
Is it being included? Is it not being included? Yeah.
I mean, luckily, it's black and white on the contract, but you know what? The contract says if you check the box for refrigerator, it's all refrigerators. And so I can't tell you how many times it will come up that a seller has a garage refrigerator.
They didn't intend to give that one away.
Yeah. And half the time, when people are moving, they move everything into the garage. So you as a buyer may not even know there's a refrigerator out there. It doesn't even cross your radar till later on, and either you don't want it or. Anyway, my hack though is if you get gifted a refrigerator that you weren't expecting, or maybe you have a nice one that you wanted to put in the kitchen and you're all excited about it, just keep the other one as long as it's functioning in your garage because you will use it.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, what I'm hearing you say is you need to hire the right realtor to remind you of all these nuances.
No, thank you so much for that, Will. But yeah, I mean, well, anyway, back to the point here. This is a Costco commercial. There's a lot going on in the market, and I really like the point you made before about people putting their lives on hold.
Yeah,
it's heartbreaking, right? To see.
Yeah,
see how people do that.
I know. The other thing I'll say as from a lender's perspective on this, is I think a lot of people would be very surprised that they're actually capable of buying either right away or a lot sooner than they think. So for any potential home buyers, if you're listening to this, I get it. Okay, the idea of, for lack of a better way of putting it, undressing financially in front of somebody, letting them run your credit, letting them see your W-2s, their paycheck stubs, your bank statements, which include the transaction history. We literally see everything. And it's very natural as a human being that we wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, you want to put up a wall.
Right?
Yeah.
So what I'll say is, now if you go call some call center person and you get somebody who's checking boxes, you're not going to have a great experience, right? But if you call somebody who's relational aka like us, we will have a very gentle conversation with you, get a very basic overview of your situation, even without running credit if we have to give you a general sense of where you stand. And we've been doing it long enough to at least let you know, based on what I heard, I actually think you could probably pull this off.
Yeah.
Within 5 minutes on a phone call with me, generally speaking, I've been at it for 22 years. I'll be able to tell somebody if they've got a fair shot, right? And sure, do we eventually need to run credit and get into the nitty gritty of the finances? Yes. But I think there's this impression that consumers, potential home buyers have, where if they make that phone call, that means they've got to fully divulge everything right up front. And you don't. You really don't. And it would be a shame as a potential home buyer to not at least have that initial conversation with the right type of advisor in the mortgage space who can give you the education you need and remove your blind spots, because we all have blind spots in life. Mm-hmm. And it's all very natural if you don't do mortgage or real estate for a living that you wouldn't understand all the nuances. And that's what we're here for. You just have to do it with the right people who aren't going to take you by the neck and force you to do stuff, right? We're not salesy, we're relational.
Well, yeah, you never want to force somebody to do something they don't want to do, but it is a gift to be able to help people see what the possibilities are.
Sure.
And I think that for a lot of people, they just get caught up in, it's going to cost $1 million.
I'm just not going to do it. Yeah.
$1 million seems like too much. Or, oh my gosh, I'm used to paying $3,000 a month. I could never spend, that much more on a mortgage. But by having like a more full picture, like that 37,000 foot view,
yes,
understanding that if this is something that could make your life better in 5-10 years, then you have to start working toward it today. It's not going to fall in your lap later.
Yeah.
And there's just so much opportunity to be able to start growing your wealth. And if you're not doing it through real estate, please do it through some other means.
Something, sure.
Just start saving. You do want to live and enjoy your life now, of course, but not at the expense of your future, not having sort of security.
Great point. Yeah. Yeah, it's all about education, and then just fair, gentle warning. If you're going on YouTube and you're watching YouTube shorts and you're going on X or Twitter and you're scrolling through and listening to all the real estate gurus, quote unquote, they're going to scare the bejesus out of you, okay? And that's not a place to get your education from. Little small sound bites, people who are being over the top because they want to be found by the algorithm with the clicks and everything else and the clickbait. Understand what their motivations are. They want YouTube or whoever else to pay them monetized dollars. Okay, it's not to educate you. I promise you. Yeah. So just be careful, because it's easy to go down the rabbit hole, and they're preying on your emotions. That is what they are doing. The reality is it's not that scary. If you talk to somebody who's licensed, who's been at it for a decade or two, who's closed hundreds, if not thousands of transactions, it's the same reason when you go to the doctor to have an important procedure done, that you're going to somebody you verify is trustworthy and is got the credentials. And you wouldn't be getting your medical advice on WebMD if something important had to be happening to your body, right?
I actually think that applying for a home loan application is not that much more scary than applying for a rental application. Yeah. There is a ton of paperwork involved in that. It's just as intrusive, if not more so, depending on if you're dealing with the property owner versus the management company. And you don't have that. I feel like having a mortgage payment that you know what it's going to be each month, and know that like if you decide to bring a dog into the household, you're not going to be thrown out. I feel like those things are more security in many ways.
Yes.
Whereas, I remember back in the day when I was renting and wanted to get a cat, and it was just like, and I don't have that cat anymore.
Or if you spill on the carpet and you make a brutal stain on your rental property carpet, what goes through your mind when that happens? It's like, oh man, it's not mine, And
I feel so sad when people call and they are looking for rentals, and every property owner wants as much protection as possible. So you've got that deposit, you've got that security, you've got that first month's rent. All of those add up. I mean, you're looking at usually at least $10,000 to $15,000 minimum just to make a move, plus moving expenses. It's just expensive. It's scary. It's very confining. Like, you got to be out by this day. Mm-hmm. It's just, there's a lot to factor in. Yeah. Whereas when you own a property, you have as much control as you can have over it as possible.
Yeah.
You know, we can't control everything. But...
Well, and there's something called pride of ownership.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
Pride of ownership, sense of responsibility, sense of purpose. You're going to notice as you go through the trajectory of your life when it comes to taking on more responsibilities, be that a mortgage and a house, getting married, having kids, whether or not you just decide to start a family. Everyone has different context. But as you continue to go through your life and develop these milestones, it's a process of growth as a human being, and you're going to be better for it. That much I can guarantee you. And the concern that I always have, and I've been in the industry since 2004, and I've seen it happen a lot, where somebody that I'm talking to initially, I'm still talking to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years later about the concept of buying a home. And then what's happened, like I had a highly educated, really wonderful human being have a heavy case of paralysis by analysis back in 2018, and still today hasn't bought a home. And that's, probably cost them close to $1 million, if not $750,000 in home price appreciation, let alone the tax benefits and all the rest, and the pride of ownership and yada, yada, yada. So it's not to be negative, but it is, or condescending in any way, shape, or form. It's very understandable, but it's also very tragic because we're letting fear or trying to have it all figured out before we're willing to take action.
Well, I mean, that's your YouTube hook right there, is how not buying in 2018 cost me $1 million, right? there's that. And also, I appreciate the analysis by paralysis. I tend to do that myself sometimes. But I mean, perfectionism and trying to have everything lined up just perfectly is often just procrastination, So I realize that. I'm guilty of it myself. But
I was probably one of the worst offenders at the early stages of my life.
Yeah. Well, and I will say too, like in some cases personally, and I see it with clients, and I think that this is fascinating, is that sometimes I didn't tell trusted friends or family members when I was in the process of buying a home, because I just needed to zero in on what was my goal and what was important for me. I did not
I know what you're touching on.
I did not want like the negative Nancy's or whatnot.
Yeah. Everyone's got an opinion.
Killjoy.
Yeah.
So and I've had clients do the same thing, and they'll ask me like, am I crazy? Is this normal?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if I think I'm normal, like I think it's fine.
As human beings, it's natural for us all to want affirmations, to want validation, to want confirmation.
Yeah.
Right? We want certainty.
Yeah.
And it feels good to have it externally from people in our lives when we hear them say, you're doing the right thing, good job. But then, because that's a default in the human experience, we do that when we're thinking about buying a home. And what you do is you open up Pandora's box to everybody's opinion on real estate. Suddenly, everyone's a real estate expert. Right?
Yeah, everyone's an expert.
Even though they've either not bought a home or bought 1 or 2 homes in their entire life.
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to be careful with that, right? Yeah. Protect your peace. And what's right for you is likely not necessarily right for the other 7.5 billion people on this planet. Not everyone's going to agree with you. Not everyone's going to do it the way you would do it. You can only do it the way that works for you.
Yeah, I liken it to dating, right? Like there's a bajillion people out there that you could marry, right? Like we all have our options, but ultimately you're typically just going to settle down with one person.
Right.
And it's the same thing with a house. When you're looking for one that you're going to live in, it's going to be one that you come home to every night.
Yeah.
Maybe you're lucky you have multiple, but generally like there's that one home.
Yeah.
So, this house with like the pink carpet might not be for all of these people, but it's perfect for you.
Yeah.
And I think I know we always try to like neutralize, and I think of course that makes a lot of sense in real estate, but if you have a very special, rare, unique property, that can also do really well. You just, you need to kind of find that one lucky person that's going to appreciate it.
One thing I found as a lender too is sometimes first-time homebuyers do need a loving nudge. Have you ever seen like the video growing up in school or on YouTube now where the baby bird gets kicked out of the nest by its mother, and it has to learn to fly as it's literally falling to its death. That's a very brutal way of looking at it. But it's we're talking about all the things that keep people from taking action. A lot of that's fear. Look at how nature operates, you know?
Get out.
What I found is like, and I feel really good about it too, because like a lot of times I've done the loving nudge for a buyer who's been in fear or paralysis by analysis, and they went ahead and pulled the trigger, and it literally meant everything in their life financially. Right?
Yeah. That's rewarding.
And remember, it's time in real estate. No one's saying you're going to hit the lottery tomorrow because you bought a home. No, but the pride of ownership stuff we talked about, the tax benefits, the long-term home price appreciation. While you're doing that, you're in a 30-year fix paying down the principal slowly but surely. Your life's going to improve over time in real estate. We're in a debt-based society and a credit-based society. So what does that mean? Inflation has to continue or this all goes belly up. What does that mean? Properties in the long run are going to do this. So it's time in real estate. And by the way, primary residence is not just a financial instrument. It's where you have to live. It's where you're going to hang Christmas lights. It's where you're going to have Thanksgiving dinner with your family. It is much more than just a financial investment. You have to live somewhere anyway, right?
Yeah. And I tell that to people that are maybe younger or more in a trajectory where they're moving around a lot in life. Of course, in some circumstances, it may not make sense, but traditionally, if you're going to be in a place for a little while, we never know where life is going to take us.
Sure.
So it's a good idea. A lot of people just don't want to commit, I think, in general. Like that's kind of the direction society tends to be trending. Like people want to weigh their options and just have flexibility. But at the same time, once you do like plant yourself, then that pride of ownership and like that sense of self-confidence even instills itself in you, and then as a person, you can grow.
It's a major milestone in life.
It is.
Yeah, don't shy away from it. And if you're not ready, like Holly correctly said, you're not ready. But also, there's no way for you to determine if you're ready or not. If you know 5%, there's everything to know about a topic. This is where we come in and we can help you. And I'll be the first to tell someone, you're not ready. It's like, no, I'm telling you, you're about 3 years out, right?
Yeah.
Or, oh my gosh, if I were in your shoes and this is how I do it and I'd buy a home today. Yeah. And by the way, if you're moving 3 years from now across the country and you own this home, just convert it to a rental. You know, now you're a property owner and building your landlord portfolio.
Especially in Southern California, because holding on to property here is a very good idea. It's a very valuable investment.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to kind of awkwardly transition this, but it does tie in. So there's an event coming up in Costa Mesa called Love Our Schools Day. It is hosted by Love Costa Mesa, a wonderful organization. And what they're doing is they're calling for volunteers for Saturday, November 15th in the morning. It's a very small time frame, so low commitment, but big impact. They're basically calling on volunteers to help beautify the schools. Awesome. And from like a community and a real estate perspective, schools are one of the major reasons people choose to live in an area. And if it's not, it's still going to have some sort of residual connection and value to the property.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's important. And also where we raise our kids and the types of environments that they're in is incredibly formative. And so whether it's beautifying or helping the teachers prep, we clearly have a ton of families and kids in the area here that just need to be loved on a little bit. And so this type of event is a great way for community to band together, do something. It's not hard physical manual labor. Some of it's a little bit more physical, but some of it's not. Some of it's just like cutting paper. It's low like phicality, but again, high impact. And
they're not going to be moving boulders around you.
No boulders. It's going to be great. And they're going to have a luncheon to celebrate and appreciate the volunteers. And again, I think that something like this in a community just shows that the people that live here do want to try to support one another, make everybody feel valued.
What a cool opportunity to give back. Yeah.
It is. And just to be able to show the students too that they're important, they're valued. I think that helps because from a young age, having confidence and feeling valid and feeling important is a big deal.
Yeah.
So this is a wonderful event. So if anybody out there is looking to give 3 hours of their time.
When is it?
It's on Saturday, November 15th, so in a week. And I will drop a link if you want to register. It's just a great opportunity to help support the community, keep it nice, keep the schools great, and empower everybody.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great thing to remember. We are all in this together at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these are good opportunities to give back to show that.
Yeah. And, when the kids feel special and loved on, then they can grow up to be leaders and make the community a better place too.
It's a good point. You're inspiring with your leadership and what you're doing, other kids to pay it forward and as they get a little bit older.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of times it's a good perspective to have that we should all be helping one another.
Yeah. I know we all like to be individualized, right?
Yeah.
Influencers and mavericks. But I do think that sometimes we can forget that it's not just our little world, right? Yeah. We're part of a community. And it is important that we're supporting that community and giving back.
Yeah. I mean, Orange County is basically just a bunch of little villages. We're all kind of finding our tribes. Our schools for a lot of the families are our village for a long time when the kids are all connected. And we just want to keep it nice and safe and beautiful. And just kept up really nicely.
It's wonderful that you're promoting it. Very cool.
I'm excited for the event. I'm excited to see how the schools and the students feel about it. I know they've done the event for the last couple of years. I wasn't part of it then, but I have seen the results and everybody has been so grateful. So this is an awesome opportunity for people to come out and have a little bit of fun too. Get off your couch, meet your neighbors.
Get outside.
Yeah, we live in such a beautiful place.
It's not too hot anymore.
Yeah, there's really no excuse. So anyway, Jason, thank you for sharing some wonderful insights about housing and mortgage and everything in between. And Costco, of course.
Thanks for having me, Holly. I appreciate it.